You are live.
I
And
I was telling Ellis I wanted to rant. I was frustrated. I am frustrated because our friend Dave is at New York Comic Con, which is great. That's
mhm, we're jealous.
but my book Heaven's Rejects is being sold at the Comic Con, which is okay. I'm okay with that. But they didn't tell me. I would have gone had they told me.
Oh my, that
And
is
again,
that is a burn.
I asked them like last year. Oh, was it last year? Yeah, last year when the first issue came out. It came out a few weeks before New York Comic Con, and I said, "Are you gonna? I will go to the con to support the book if you're gonna be there, or if I said I'll support the book. I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'll do it." And they said, "Well, we don't know if we're gonna have copies." And well, they kind of find out what they did is they did a bunch of game stuff, which is okay. I mean, that's their
Sure.
prerogative. But so what's happened is the game stuff has kind of gone. The people that do they're not selling games anymore. Let me put it that way.
hmm
And so now, apparently, Greg, the writer, who I like, I wish him no ill will,
hmm
went to New York Comic Con, and not only that, is selling Heaven's Rejects. I didn't think that. I thought they were all out of copies. Anyway, so I'm a little miffed. I'm miffed
Oh,
because
is it just him like with a table?
no, it's them. They're
It's
there.
them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the arrangement. I don't know. He may have paid for it,
Okay.
but it's like, God, why don't you guys tell me? I would have gone, Ellis. I would have loved to have gone.
I know. Well, you would have. It would have been a kind of like a fulfillment of a dream of yours to be
Exactly. I
at a
want to sell
con
one. Yeah.
selling your book.
Yeah. I'd be like the bounty of Zone Z.
hmm That's
And
right.
it's just aggravating because it's like, and that was my beef to this. Like, look,
In fact, there is
don't
an
agree
important
to with me.
closure thing that you probably needed for something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah. And I would have been happy to. My only so when I asked them about it, I was like, well, let me know and I'll go. I'll be happy to go. And they said, well, I said, well, I'll go work at the book. Well, once they said they weren't selling copies of my book, I was like, okay, whatever. Because it's like, well, then there's not really any point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's aggravating on many levels, and I won't even get into the fact I haven't received a dime from it yet. When obviously I'm owed money because I get it off of the top. I get off the cover.
Yeah,
I don't get it off.
supposedly.
There's no profits or anything. I get my cut, which is, we've sold. Our first issue sold almost 5,000 copies. So I mean, you do the math. Somebody owes
Mm-hmm.
me money, and I'm not. I'm not bitter at them for not paying me. I'm bitter at them for not talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let me know. And I know they talk to the writer, which is fine, but he doesn't own the project. We own it together.
Mm-hmm.
Anything they tell him, they should be telling me,
Mm-hmm.
right? He has we're 50-50 on this project, but yet and I get it. He probably drove to the con,
Mm-hmm.
but dude, I would have flown. I would have went.
Mm-hmm. Well,
100%.
sure, sure. You love that. Well, you love New York, and you love.
I'd have gone in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to go on vacation in a few weeks. That we literally set up like a few nights ago, or last night because I need to burn time, vacation
Mm-hmm.
time for
Mm-hmm.
work. And anyway, it's just aggravating. So I would say one, publishers are jackasses. Not
Yeah.
maybe not all of them, but it's just frustrating because it's like, really, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't.
Well,
And
yeah. It leaves a big hole in you to
yeah,
think about that going on right now without you. Yep.
yes, yeah. Well, if they had asked me or said, "Hey, we're gonna go. Would you be interested?" Dude, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd be like, "Yeah,"
Mm-hmm.
But it's and maybe it's not even the fact they don't invite me, even though there's no reason they shouldn't at least invite me. They
Yep.
invited the writer. I'm F owner,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe he did something on his own. I don't know, but it's just aggravating to me.
Well, that's probably what I imagine it boils down to. Is he's an agent that moves around and
Well, he lives up there. He goes to
yeah,
the
exactly.
offices, you know.
He's not linked just doing things as as a whatchamacallit of that particular press, that particular publisher.
Yeah.
He's just
Well, and last time.
well, I mean, what kind of detail can Dave fill you in on documentation wise and all that about?
He sent me pictures. I mean,
Oh, he has sent you pictures. Okay.
yeah, he sent me pictures of and again, I'm not mad at. I mean, I want him to sell the book. I want him to pay me for it, but sell the crap out of the book. I don't.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what I want. I want the book to be popular, but golly, let me know what's going on, guys. Gee,
Mm-hmm.
so ridiculous. So it's so aggravating because it's like I would love. You know what I would do to promote the book if they let me in on it, and that was my beef early on. They decided they weren't going to do a trade.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, what are our options? And so the writer said, well, you need to talk to the editor. And so I emailed the guy.
Yeah.
And he emails me something vague. I said, well, I'd like to talk to you just to see what we can do. What are our options? And he kind of emails me something kind of vague, and so I say, well, I have some follow-up questions. Oh, and he loads a bunch of other people in there. He's like, these people are kind of involved, so I put that, which is fine. Again, I don't care. But it's like, what are my options? And I asked, I forget all the questions I asked him, but he never got back with me. And so one day I was frustrated. And I was killing time looking on the internet, which is a horrible idea. Mm-hmm. And so on Facebook, I just posted, it drives me crazy. My publisher, I emailed him twice. And I emailed the group, and then I just emailed the guy and said, look, I don't know if you have a problem with the writer. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on and if there are any options. He never emailed me back. And I waited weeks, and so so he, so then I posted a thing on Facebook. It's like, oh man, I'm so frustrated because my publisher won't reach out to me. So all these people who know where I published at are like, well, I've had the same issue with them. And this goes on, and then I get an email from this guy, and he's like, hey, I was getting ready to respond to you. Which
right on the edge of
I was
just about to hit send. Yeah.
Don't even give me that. I mean, I'm not some 24-year-old kid that just flunked out of art school. I mean, I write 150 emails a day. Don't give me your bull crap. I went to lunch the other day on a business lunch. And at one point, I looked at my phone, and one of my employees goes, how many emails have you got since we left? And I said, I've gotten 44 emails while we're at lunch. And he was like, get out of here. And I'm like, look. And he's like, holy crap, dude. Anyway, he was like, well, I was just putting this together. And then, but you've been I don't know. He may not use the term drag. But he says, well, since you decided to air this in public, I figure I better answer it. It's like, well, if that's what it took, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't want to do it that way, but anyway. And so then he was like, you know what? If you want your rights back, why don't you just take the rights to your book back? And so I was like, okay, cool. And then the publisher was like, well, hang on. So we got other things going, and we're trying to do this, and I'm like, well, anyway. And now they're at New York Comic Con selling my book, not that they haven't paid me for.
Well, the whole point of that is you just think you've been hurt by being stiffed in this way, but imagine how you'll feel as far as the stiffing goes if if that becomes like an IP, that he's able to gussy up a little bit, change slightly. And then with the, like I say, the comic book is a hell of a presentation thing.
Well, I'll tell
And
you,
then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, this has got nothing to do with Heaven's Rejects. This is something that Taylor Swift wants to do.
well, yeah. Well, here's the thing. I saw the email where the editor-in-chief gave me my rights back. So if something
really?
ever oh yeah. So if something happens and they don't involve me, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're doing a movie, I'm gonna immediately seek a lawyer and say, no, now you have to negotiate with me because you gave it back to me.
Hey, wait a second. Dan wants to know, what did he miss, guys? Start over. I'm just kidding. He's got other notes. What about the New York Comic Con? This about the New York Comic Con, he's asking.
Yes.
And Squeaky Wheel gets the attention. Yeah. So you're up to date, Scott.
Yeah. Basically, my old publisher, and they're at the con, and they didn't tell me they were going to be, and they're selling my book there, which I thought was out of print. I mean, they haven't told me it's out of print, but I'm surprised they have any copies left.
Yeah, I'd like a copy.
Well, they've never offered me they've never offered me the opportunity to buy one, and it's in my contract.
And yeah, you're supposed to be able, as a creator, to not have to shell out too much for copies.
Yep.
Well,
I should have told Dave just grab all the copies off the table and tell Greg he was taking them back to me.
There you go.
Dave, I will tell you this. Dave said, "Do you want me to confront him about owing you money?" And I said, "You handle it how you want to." I said, "But if they offer you money, if they give you cash, take it and burn it and tell them that's how much I need them."
Yeah.
Sorry, I would do that. I would literally burn their money if it made a point. I would.
Good news is they will sell the book and make it a series. Yeah, all of a sudden you'll be.
I'm already committed to Black Cricket.
Bad news is it will be done by the same people who did the She-Hulk. I haven't seen the She-Hulk.
That series. It'll be a TV series. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, they need to send you those copies at least.
The editor sent me an email going, "Hey, we'll give you your book. You can have all your rights back to your book." And then the publisher was like, "Hang on, not so fast."
Whoa.
But I've got it in writing from an email from the editor going, "You can have all your rights back." So if something were to happen and they were not to involve me, I would have to throw up everything I could to stop it, or renegotiate my contract.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, it's frustrating because I
you wanted nothing more than success for everybody involved, and you didn't. You tried to be as easy a conduit for that success as possible.
Absolutely. Oh, even I shelled out my own money to pay for the colors, and I've never gotten a dime.
Yeah.
Well, and Ellis, I'm half expecting at the end of the year to get a letter from the IRS going, we have it that you were paid $5,000.
Well, wouldn't that be something, sticking you that way?
Hey, you know what? I would rat them
out.
They would regret that. That would not be a good move. I would spend a lot of money and burn them over that. If they're trying to write off money that they didn't pay me.
At least you can have copies for upcoming cons. Yeah. That's what those copies, you get those at least.
Yeah, I was supposed to have the opportunity to buy some.
A little tip: keep every email they send you. Yeah. Sure.
Well, I mean, the good thing
make a little folder. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is I'm happy with the Black Cricket.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, you're.
I'm okay. And honestly,
you're still striving.
I don't begrudge them anything except for I'm annoyed that they didn't tell me And part of it probably falls on the writer, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's.
He had
Well,
to,
you know, it's one of those things you visualize exactly how it's going to go before you even try it.
yeah.
So he had it all visualized just exactly how it would go if he did contact you about this and such. And so he just didn't like the way that visualization went, and
Maybe so.
it never happened.
Maybe so. But God, it frustrates me.
And you know, you would have just been like, "Wow, this is out of the blue," but I dig it.
Oh, I would have, yeah. And I think, I mean, I've talked to him about, you know, hey, we've talked about doing conventions and stuff. You know, hey, we should do but and he knows I tried to reach out to them about New York Comic Con last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine that he would have been like, oh, Scott would never go for this.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But yeah, I mean, you're probably right. People visualize how stuff is going to go, and
yeah.
he probably is like,
And some of that's good. I mean, if you think you want to get into Logan Paul's face and tell him what an obnoxious twit he is, visualize that a little better. How that might go.
yes. Anyway,
Visualize.
black
Keep yourself
Skeleton,
out of trouble.
the black cricket.
Mm-hmm.
I've been. I should make. I should make Dan turn off the stream for this. I've been a little frustrated because I've been having to do. I don't know what to call makeup work, but you know, basically filing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
scanning in the images.
Dan says, "Yay, Black Cricket is happy with you, brother, and it does suck that they didn't tell you. And New York Comic Con is a huge deal. Yeah, I guess it's. Is it even bigger than San Diego Comic Con? Heck, just setting up there would have done wonders for you and your career. I'd be pissed too. Yep.
Yeah.
Dan understands.
Again,
He's
I mean,
been there.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I interrupted you though to give you all those updates.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm sorry. I knew that I was going to produce that effect.
That's okay. The honestly, I mean, it would have caused. I'm going tomorrow for my annual physical, so had I gone, it would have caused me a little bit of.
Yeah, I would have.
I would have had to reschedule that. And
Yeah.
my doctor. He only does physicals on Friday, and he only does like about 4 a day because that's all he does on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
Except for maybe like some emergency stuff, I guess, or some working stuff. But I mean, I'll probably be at the doctor's office for 2 or 3 hours tomorrow.
Well, hope that goes all right.
Avoid it like the plague.
Yeah, I could do without that. But you know, it does people good to get in there and get told, change this, change that.
You're not gonna die.
You're not gonna die.
Well, he's probably gonna yell at me about my cholesterol. Not yell. Actually, my doctor's pretty cool.
Yeah, he'll yell at you and look at the monitor as he yells. Say, see, you can barely take the stress here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What do you think you're doing?
What do you imagine if a cop starts yelling at you like that?
You die.
Die.
You know, I'm assuming you've seen the news about what happened in Israel.
What? I'm just kidding.
Oh.
It's hard to miss all that stuff. I appreciate all you have done.
Oh, thanks.
Especially this week with all the change. Oh, you underwent some changes, huh?
Well, okay, so yeah, so this week has been frustrating for me a little bit. I'm not complaining, but I've had to do. We're trying to get our grayscales done, so I had to do grayscaling. And I didn't have a bunch of stuff scanned, so I had to scan. I've spent a couple nights doing filing, I guess, or I don't know what you'd call it. Not filing, but you know what I'm saying.
Process work.
Process work. That's a good way to put it. Instead of drawing. So I'd rather be drawing, but you know, I mean, I get it. It's got to be done. So,
Mhm.
I'm okay with it. But yeah, I'd rather be drawn. But
Sure.
I brought it on myself because I did not scan in about 4 pages.
Mhm.
So I had to do something about that.
Had to drop off and get that oversight cleared up.
Had to catch up. Oops. Had to catch up.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's my big disappointment. The recent discovery of the past week is I got all that process work done of pre roughing out deal and Otis, and I thought I had it all visualized. I thought I might get 10 pages ink today, or 10 panels rather. I think I'm up to 3 now of about a week's work.
Three panels.
It's just getting used to it again for one thing.
Oh yeah.
Had to get my
Well,
ear. Yeah, it is. It takes some getting used to get back onto something like an iPad and say, okay, how was I doing this?
well, and that's been one of the frustrating things, and it's not Dan's fault by any means, but yeah, when you shift back and forth, you kind of get out of the loop.
Yeah. Hmm.
And like for example, I was drawing and scanning my pages, and I drawn them. They're not drawn 11 by 17; they're a little bit smaller, but I couldn't remember that percentage to enlarge it.
Hmm.
So I did a large in my hand, or not
Hmm.
by hand, but just by eye. Whereas before I was like, okay, it's 110% or whatever it was. I mean, I could figure it out, I guess, with a thing, but I haven't
Hmm.
done it. But there's been a couple things. I did something.
Proportion wheel? Is that what you were going to
Yeah,
say?
yep, a proportion wheel. I did something. I want to show you what I did. I thought this came out really cool. Let's see. Oh, that was the other thing. I did Dan had me do another artist book, which I didn't mind, but
Oh, I saw some of that. Yeah, yeah, it was cool. That
let's see. Okay, is that? Oh, what did I do with those pages?
yeah,
Oh,
don't lose work.
uh, I want to show you this. I thought this was cool what I did.
Okay.
So let me zoom in on it just a little bit so you can see it. So I did, a grayscale, kind of like I've been doing, but this character is vanishing right here. And so what I did is I did kind of a fade, and I used a bigger dot pattern.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
So it
No, I
kind of
dig
jumps
that.
out. So it's more. I wanted more of like an energy effect, kind of. Nobody will ever
Yeah,
notice that.
it blends up good with the Kirby Crackle is
Well,
what
that's
it
what I
does.
wanted. I just wanted it to. I was thinking like, yeah, like a Kirby Crackle or like the
Yeah.
Star Trek teleporter uh,
Mhm.
effect. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. That was something I did that no one will ever notice, but I'll know it's there.
Here we go. Got to catch up with Dan again.
Oh yeah,
I do have some good news.
yeah.
I got the word back from Ben Dunn giving me the thumbs up on some art Joey Martinez did
Okay, that's who did.
for a Tomorrow Girl story. I think this is going to open the door for all of us at Kauai Hora to do more of those. Hurrah.
That's the studio that we're in.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Kirby Crackle is Black Cricket's second favorite band.
No, so I did. I'll show you this, Ellis. You probably won't. You don't know about My Hero Academia, do you? Do you have any idea what that is?
Uh, it seems like is it a woman artist that does these
No,
really funny,
nope,
cynical
nope, nope, nope,
cartoons?
nope,
Okay.
nope, nope. It's a manga, and let's see, it's a manga, and it's kind of a superhero manga. But
Okay.
anyway, so let me find that. Oh, okay. So this is their logo. I don't know if you can see this. This is their logo.
Yeah.
So, and Dan is a big fan of this show. I have a couple of the DVDs. I haven't watched all of them. I need to watch. I'm off tomorrow. I ought to watch them. So I did. The guy's name is Midoriya, and so I did this as kind of a spoof of because in the Black Cricket, Young Midoriya is an indie band, and so at one point, Frank is wearing a T-shirt that has that on the. Let's see if I can find that.
It's a what do you call it? A nod and a wink at somebody.
Yeah. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, here you can see it here.
Okay.
See this panel. I put it in digitally.
Yeah.
On the guy's shirt.
Something that won't have to be inked.
Well, I know. I sent him a layered file, so hopefully the inker can kind of ink around it and then drop it in.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but all the jumping back and forth has got me, yeah. I do it at work a lot, so it's not that big of a deal. But
there's no truly anything like multitasking. You guys just got to say, okay, now I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You have to put it in front of you and get to a single task. And otherwise, it's like you can't get it done if you don't somehow manage to get them compartmentalized properly.
I'm pretty good at. I mean, that's what I do at work.
Mm-hmm.
I got so much freaking stuff going on at work that. The bad thing is I do this and like I haven't worked on this and I'm like, how dark is this girl's hair? That's the kind of stuff where I'm
get back to. Wait a second. Annie doesn't have pupils.
Blonde in page 1. What the heck? Yeah, that's. Oh yeah, no, she's got dark hair.
Oh, have you seen this My Hero Academia, Scott? Dan is telling me to check it out. Imagine X-Men, only good, as opposed to what Marvel's doing now. Yeah, I am so behind the curve on all current comic books. Like my most recent comic book purchase is to satisfy myself on what Mike Hoffman might have to write about how to do comics, because I consider him a guy that I dig him as an indie spirit. And whatever he does on comics works for me. He's putting out his dream of just being Warren without having to go through James Warren, of all the little pubs he puts out. I just kind of dig that.
Yeah. Did you told me you reached out to him about something, or did you ever?
Well, no, I said I was visualizing, he's. Well, he ended up republishing a story I'd done for one of his the other fellow, Blake or whatever, that did put out the Tomb of Terror, and I think they remain in constant collaborative orbit of each other because he's still putting out the same product, and I'm sure that guy was important to getting these products out.
Yeah.
But he reused that story, and I was just thrilled. I didn't for a second think about, hey, where's my secondary cash or anything. But of course, I would have to check any contractual thing I did or whatever. But I didn't care for a second. All I was happy to see, and I was sorry I only had the PDF version. And when I got online and tried to figure out how to get a floppy version, I couldn't figure it out. So. Ellis, do you ever read comics online? Yeah, I have several comics online. In fact, I was thrilled by the fact that in the old Comixology, they allowed you to have what they call backup copies, which just means that you've got your own copy now of the Parker stories by Darwin Cook. Golly, that's a prized possession to have that. To say, okay, I want to look at some Darwin Cook and have that available to say, okay, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
So yeah,
is really cool.
but I rarely do take the time to get into much in the way of online comics, even though they got all this pirated stuff that's online, and a lot of it is that the golden age stuff and all that I really dig. but I don't do it. I've got a lot of stuff. I made a point of tracking down some of that pirated stuff again on Darwin Cook. What was that thing called with his new?
The New Frontier.
Yeah, the New Frontier, which I guess was his Justice League stuff. And man, my enthusiasm when I just was looking at it was like, hey, I'm going to be reading this. I haven't gotten around to it.
It's funny you say that. I bought that trade paperback at the that show, and I started Great Guns on it, and I haven't finished it.
Yeah.
I tell you, at that show, I bought a Ant-Man trade or essential, and it's there. And man, I just love looking at that stuff. Even I bought the X-Men Volume 2, which is issues like 40 or like 33 through 60 or something like that, and it's got all this stuff that I would have hated as a kid. It's Dick Ayers and some of those guys, and I would have hated that as a kid. But boy, I love that stuff now. I just
your appreciation for so much grows as you just realize, what it takes to finish anything.
This is the conversation I had with the guy at work recently. I've realized, and if I could tell myself anything back in the day, this would be what I would tell myself. Don't worry about style. Just draw and get good at what you're doing, and everything. That's all that matters.
That's
obsessed with style and like, well, is this the right? Will a publisher hire me for this style? And it's like, well, just draw what you like. I mean, if you like, and because I started off doing almost kind of a I don't know, Russ Andrew kind of thing, just kind of a real, and it's like, man, if I would have just, and I look at it and I go, well, it wasn't that the style was bad. It's like, well, the anatomy was off, the storytelling was off. If I'd have just kept at it, I might have done well, But I mean, I was so obsessed with switching up how it looked versus how the drawing was. And I think
Spider-Man Fake Red, best Spidey story I've read in over a decade.
Fake Red. I don't know what.
Well, it's on this. Dan is trying to tell me about. Is My Hero Academia the online comic book service?
No.
He's saying it's $2.99 a month for. Do I ever read comic books online? Demon Slayer, One Punch Man, a ton of features. I assume that's My Hero.
Okay, let me tell you what My Hero Academia is, Ellis,
okay.
Because you seem confused.
Yes,
it was a manga. It's still an ongoing manga, but they made it into an anime, and so that's where a lot of people have found it in America because of that, from the anime. But it's like a long manga series. So there's manga out, I think like 26 volumes or something like that. So it's out there. But basically the story is a lot of people in the world have superpowers. And they develop at a young age, and they're sent to like a superhero school, right?
That sounds original.
Well, I know. Very well. I've said for years,
derivative. Everything's derivative.
Harry Potter is just the original X-Men.
Sure.
They go to school, and I have said, I think kids respond to that. I think, and then here comes, I said it when I was reading Harry Potter back years ago, and here comes this, and
kids want to be mentored. They're in that explosive learning mode, and they say, "Well, somebody fill me up."
School, because they all go to school. So yeah, I mean, anyway, so but that's what My Hero Academia is. There's a little bit more to it. There's a main character that doesn't have any abilities, but he still wants to be a hero. You don't have to necessarily have. But you have to go to this hero academy, and then I mean there's some personality differences and stuff in there. But anyway, that's kind of the basic setup. And it's pretty good, and it's written a lot more like the original X-Men than yeah. I had the first volume of the manga, and it's very much like the anime. Um,
Yeah,
it,
the thing with Superman types, and that what was that Marshall character? That guy that destroy all everything in the universe must be destroyed. What was that guy's name? Uh,
Lobo? I don't know.
well, he was just a real simplistic style, and it had this big collection of his work that they put out that it was almost lost, I guess, because it was it wasn't all that great or anything, but it was so unique, and so obviously with identified with that artist, and we're talking what is that? Destroy all planets or something like that. And it had this Starman kind of character. That's Basil Wolverton, I think.
Okay.
Okay, never mind. I'll just not until I actually have the guy's name figured out, I'll share it. I wanted to share this with you. I'll drag them up here to where people can see what I'm talking about because I share. Oh, I guess I have to go solo. I'll do that real quick. Solo me. I told you that I had ruined. I believe you were actually in my house when I told you I ruined those paintings, didn't I? No,
Maybe.
I guess
Maybe
I showed them to you online. I showed them to you online just like this. But the deal was, this thing was not, had almost no blue left to it. The linseed oil on it had just totally dominated and ate it alive. And now it's back to blue, and I'll tell the secret of how to do that. Same thing with my I was going to call it my beautiful, my personal favorite here, the shadow. It's gotten vibrant again. All the yellowing is gone. And this one too, it was all yellowed. This Hulk is the biggest transformation. I mean, the colors were never all that good, but it just looked like complete crap when it turned yellow. And this guy too, this is a copy of a Kirby Prose that I just did as a painting. And this one is probably the one that most needed to have the yellowing removed because all this detail in the back of the cavern was just gone. So for all you people oil painting that have had paintings just turn yellow and look like hell, like I did by putting linseed oil on top of them, the secret is to leave them out in the sun for 3 hours. And isn't that amazing? And it worked. When I saw it, I said, "No, I gotta find about 2 or 3 other people saying that works before I did it," because all I could imagine was damage that would occur if you leave something out in the sun.
Yeah, you'd think it would not become vibrant.
Yeah, and it just I guess it's like removing a tattoo or something. It just focuses on that linseed oil and makes it go away, which is exactly what I wanted. And anyway, so that was the good news on that. It's always nice. I was actually kind of a little bit bummed about what that represented as hours spent.
Oh, yeah, I remember
losing it.
About that.
The other thing is, I've got this big copy of the library's copy of the Inkle. And I've got a feeling, I remember about the time I faded on the story. Because I was really into John DeFool and his problems. And I think he went, we were talking about Jodorowsky and Hodorowski. But he Mad Genius, one of the best documentaries ever made on his vision of Dune. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the Inkle, we read it on the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I told you, that edition, that hardcover edition that's out by Humanoids or whatever,
Uh-huh.
they have messed up the type, because
Yeah.
I have one of the 3 volumes that Epic did, and the type has shrunk about a point or two, and it's very hard. I have trouble reading it in its current state because it's small,
Mm-hmm.
and the lettering is tiny. Well, so so that's the it looks nice, but there's that anyway. But then we read it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this?
Way too much text, way too small. And I have to imagine that was probably
crazy.
motivated by people saying, we can't have this text covering up all this beautiful
No, the balloons are the
Mobius.
same size, though. The balloons are identical.
Oh, the balloons are identical? Well, then it makes absolutely no sense.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
I tell you what, Scott, those things down to thumbnail size just look fantastic.
Oh,
You got this inker, and you are just the ultimate collaborative happening right now. And the page looks great too, Scott. Yep.
thanks. There's little things that he does that. Oh, thank you, Dana. There's little things that he does that I'm like, I don't know if I like that, but I'm also like, no. He's doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my thing. I'm trying not to. But so what I'm doing is like, okay, I'm trying to look at what he does, and then think about how I can kind of lean into what he's doing to make it all better. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
Well, I think what he's doing, he's looking at that, and an inker's got to decide what to leave in, what to leave out. And that's just basic to once you start passing that permanent decision onto the page is like, well, of course he's doing digital, I guess, but
I'm pretty sure. Well, in fact, this file, he still left his layers on this Photoshop file, which is
fine, I would imagine.
Yeah,
but
doesn't bother me one bit.
Yeah, but that sort of thing, that's good to see his process. He's saying, okay, I have a nose in front of me. I'm going to use exactly 5% of the way Scott has presented this nose to me. And because especially on a female, just practically forget she's got lines on her face. You've got to really do that for a female face. And that goes especially for the nose. And there's only about, if you look at How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, therein you find about the only way you ought to handle a female nose, which was just with a couple of little flicks.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's what he's doing. And I assume that's just based on mileage of how he's always treated noses.
I was unfamiliar with his name is Jeff Austin, and I was unfamiliar with him until he started working on this. And it's amazing that I've seen some of the stuff he's done since then. It's like, holy cow, he's done quite a bit of stuff. So I don't know how Dan tricked him into inking for me, but thank you.
Well, I hope he thinks that, what you've done is strong layout and really good storytelling, and basically whatever he brings to it that edits you, I think it's working great.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm hesitant to say this because it sounds like I'm being critical of him, but I'm not used to having somebody else ink my work, and so I look at it and I kind of go, well, that's not really how I would do it. But then I go, well, but that's okay, it's how it needs to look. So it looks, everybody seems to like it, so I don't.
Keep the nose dainty for the ladies. That's right. And Kevin got Jeff for us. Yeah, the only time.
Kevin did? Okay.
Yeah, the only time you get a whole lot of lines in a nose is when you're doing a Kirby monster. That's when you really load up on the nose.
There you go. Oops.
You were dropped it after I added some sort of topic or was sharing captions or whatever about had I seen news of the Middle East
Israel.
and all that, the Israel, yeah. And what was the particular thing you wanted to talk about there?
Well, I was just curious if you'd seen anything about it.
Oh yeah. I've seen it, and it's fascinating because people have been able to pussyfoot or outright be somewhat anti-Semitic.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And all of a sudden they find themselves saying, "Uh-oh, I'm becoming a pariah." Harvard cracks me up.
As I was going to say, the Harvard thing is just
Yeah,
funny. They're like,
that's
actually one of the
that's
biggest investment firms said, "We want the names of all the students that signed this because we will never hire them."
Yeah.
It's like,
which
is funny because it's like, hey, you know what? I don't believe in cancel culture. I believe in consequences. Isn't that what they always say?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to be, I mean, that's the thing is like when our society has embraced this idea of, well, you're allowed to ruin somebody's life for something they say,
doxing them, yeah.
And there's no point of forgiveness. That axe swings both ways, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm just saying when that's the way that you want to deal with people, that's a dangerous territory, And a lot of people think, well, I had the right idea, so it applies to me. It doesn't apply to me, so I feel this. I'm okay with this. Well, this just tells you how it's like. Well, you never know what's going to happen because all these people that were like in this case, were all free Palestine, and they are anti-Semitic because of that. I mean, not because they feel that way, but because of that, they're like, oh, Israel's the wrong. Well, then all of a sudden it swings the other way, and it's like, well, wait a minute, you're all of a sudden supporting people that flew into a music festival and were grabbing women and raping them, and you're okay with that. So that's what you're defending. I won't say their name, but the church I attend, the denomination I attend, had put out a statement that I thought was the most lukewarm statement. It was basically like, we pray for peace on all sides. And I'm like, I have a problem with that. I'm not saying that you say we wanted to bomb them back in the Stone Age.
Well, that's the deal, though. I mean, it's like you don't want to be Lindsey Graham either, saying, I'm the world's biggest. Let's do it now. Let's get into Iran. Let's get guts in our teeth. Come on, man. Follow me.
I think you have to be careful about that. And but at the same time, I think you're allowed to say we abhor people that kidnap innocent people from a music festival and rape them. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
If you can't condemn that, I mean, what can you condemn?
Yeah. No.
Or
it was just people going in with the idea that if I can do something hideous, I can do. I'm going to do it.
Like Vikings.
Yeah, exactly. It was very obviously by design to just like say, let your shadow self reign. Get in there, and anything you've ever even thought about doing, do it.
They've said well, the Israelites are not human, so what we do and that's like straight out of Nazi,
Yeah, sure.
And that's and the danger is, or one of it was scary is we do that with political parties in the United States.
Oh yeah.
It's like, well, wait a minute.
Maxine Waters has basically got half of America in that sort of dehumanized category.
Yeah, it's like, well, they need. Well, who was it that said that Trump supporters need to be re-educated?
Yeah, Hillary. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was Hillary, wasn't it?
Yeah. She's got us in camps.
Yeah, and it's but yeah, anyone that supports this though is just horrific. And what's crazy is like, and here's what's interesting is a lot of the Black Lives Matter groups have probably shocking, but have supported Palestine over the last couple of years. And so now they're in the position. Black Lives Matter Chicago put out a statement. Did you see the poster they put out?
Yeah, they were glorifying those the
guys on the
paragliders.
And it's like, how do you and I don't know.
But I mean, that's got a value. I mean, it's like, hey, thanks for completely putting all questions to rest about who you are.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's like
that you are a commie that just is here to destroy. That is your passion in life.
Yeah, and, I mean, that's the thing is, the commies don't like the Russian or the Jews.
Mm-hmm. Well, they basically don't like anything that smacks of
religion.
Not anything that would take you out of the state as the sole source of power. And the Jews obviously are, but I tell you what, if you had a choice of the race to have as the only race to make it in the fight of the Holocaust, probably be the Jews, because the Jews wouldn't take very long before they created all their own frictions that would keep them continuing to evolve, because they're never going to get on the same page about crap. They've probably got a little too many brains to ever get along with each other. And they're always going to, like, I can't believe all the Jews that are on TV that are hating on Netanyahu, and they can't help themselves, even though they've got it front and center. They hate what Hamas has done. They just can't help mention the fact how much they hate Netanyahu.
Yeah, it's like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, that's the deal, though, and it makes a big point that hey, this is you can't get around it. This helps a guy that was a little bit beleaguered, because now he's got like emergency considerations for being in there now, and and so it's like, okay, well, so what? I guess, I don't know.
We may get yanked off of YouTube for talking about it.
And plus, I get so cynical about the fact all the stuff we've learned the past few years about what they are willing to do to get this or that to happen, in terms of like arms sales or to move a narrative, and it's like, I honestly, I'm not even starting to propose that they could do that to themselves on purpose, like some people are saying. But
oh gosh,
no, that's total. We brought the towers down ourselves with.
Yeah,
I saw this old countrified metalist with his own little shop with a. With an anvil and all that. And he said, I was on Facebook and I've just had it. He says, all of them talking about the melting point of steel, and said, I've got a furnace over here that is 1,000 degrees short. First, he demonstrates with the exact same steel rod that he's got unheated, and he shows that it picks up this anvil at a perfect right angle, no problem. There's not a bend in it. And he gets this other piece of steel, the rod, heated within 1,000 degrees of its melting point. And he hammers on it, shows you it's a perfectly solid piece of steel still, but it's pretty much white hot. And then he tries to do that same thing to that rod when he sticks it into his anvil, just bends in two. And there's point being, all this stuff about the melting point of steel is just stupid.
Right.
It got within a few hundred degrees of melting. It didn't have to melt You know,
Right. It had just had to get
you just had
hotter.
to get like spaghetti,
Right.
and
Had to
that
lose it.
load was coming down on your head
Yep.
at that
Yep.
point.
Hey, don't tell me. Tell Alex Jones.
Yes, right. Tell Alex Jones, what's wrong with that guy? Anyway, that guy should be banned from social media.
Well,
They already. I forgot.
They already banned him.
They
I
are.
used to. I listened to Alex Jones for a long
He's
time.
fun. He's fun.
He is fun. He was a little out there in some of his ideas, certainly.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's a provocateur, pure and simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, some of it. I mean, I don't know. Have you seen his video where he goes to Bohemian Grove? I mean,
Oh yeah, he proves it. Says, look
Yeah.
at them. They're all dancing around like freaks.
they're dancing around the owl statue of Moloch. You know, it's like, what have they done?
That guy's got a salamander in his mouth. What the hell?
Not a salamander.
That's good. Lord Bush
What
is
did
back.
Dan say? I saw something.
Oh, it says if you can't draw the line at kidnapping, raping, murdering babies, then you need to ask who the real Nazi is. I wonder, it would be a high comedy for these people, these murderers in arms together, to get out amongst each other and get in the wild, and then have somebody do something in front of another fellow guy, and the guy says, oh, well, screw you, and put a bullet in you, saying, hey, you're just a little too sad. But I doubt that happened.
Yeah.
You're just a little over the top, Mohammed. I've always wondered about you.
We knew.
Mm-hmm.
We knew.
Sick bastard. You can't. I'm sorry. I'm starting to free associate on my own, all by myself over here. Yeah.
You turned into Cracked Magazine.
Yeah, Cracked Magazine, all by myself. Speaking of which, thank God for things like the Babylon Bee. I saw one that just cracked me up. This part of the squad that Talik Abib or whatever her name is, it said seen on the roof of the whatever she is, the representatives building.
Yeah.
It said Tariq's pride flag being thrown off the roof by her Palestinian flag.
Oh yeah, that's what's crazy is I saw there was a thing. It was like Queers for Palestine. It's like,
yeah, right.
That's what amazes me. Yet somehow
the
religion of peace, but yet it's like they're so
it's unearthly, and I hope I don't have too many things I actually do this with, but doublethink is just fascinating. The idea that it can actually exist, that you can put something like that in your mind that so obviously has contradictory points and even being. How can you do it? How do you do it? How do you juggle that? But
people do
it gets done all the time. Yeah.
Helps if you're an idiot.
yeah. Well, I guess idiocy might help. Let's see. My thing is, wait a second. He's got a new one. My thing is, do the whack jobs on the far left get that the people who make up the group that attacked Israel are not for them or their way of thinking. This is true.
Exactly.
It's only enemy of my enemy kind of thing that even finds you, in the same
Right. Well,
thing.
but that's the danger is people divide the world up by sides, and it's like, wait a minute, they're not on your side.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they're like, well, they must be on the right side because
They don't like.
they don't like Trump. So
Yeah,
by
yeah,
golly, they must be the right kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it happens on the conservative side too.
Oh yeah, sure.
Well, look, everyone's mad about these guys with swastikas or whatever.
Yeah, we've got Steve Scalise might have been perfectly satisfactory, but I guess they're still bogged down on whether or not they're going to go with him. He doesn't have the votes, and of course the people I'd probably really like to see in there, they probably don't have the votes. You got to have these coalitions, and the horrific process they had to go through to get the guy. I don't like him either. The guy they had, McCarthy. What they went through to get him was just, just amazing that they couldn't realize, hey, this is our time here. Let's get unified. But that's the deal. We've got so many true. I mean, the word rhino is a true factor in life. They aren't on the same page with truly conservative people. They are just basically the deep state. I doubt they will offer safe spaces. That's right. The Talik Alibs or whatever her name is aren't worried about you having a safe space. They want to keep you under pressure and driving you toward the pins.
Oh, I think some of those people, they don't even know what they don't even realize what if something happened or if what they'd be in for. It's just denial and
yeah, I know, but there's a certain kind of person that as long as they've got something good going, you are the spice of life. Not having anything good, you're the kind of person they want to hear about. How hard you've got it. Okay, I think we're at 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Well,
It looks like you got a lot done. Oh, I like that big smudge effect on your Inferno over there. Maybe don't lose the white though of the intensity toward the middle. Gotta watch that smudge drift. You may not be done with it.
Hang on just a second, and I'll finish this page up.
Okay. Yeah, and save often.
Yeah. Oh well, that happened the other day. I lost a bunch of stuff.
I hate even because I have had a few meltdowns regarding 3D art because you can.
I got so intense.
Oh man, I got intensely into a model I was making one time, and I realized, blip, it was gone, and I realized it meant just catastrophic crash, and it was like, when did I save that last?
Yeah.
And I realized, oh my God, just thinking about everything I was going to have to redo.
Occasionally at work, I'll have the everybody save announcement PSA. Okay, I think I'm done with this page.
Hey, Dan says, looking good, Scott. And night, guys. I like it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That looks great. I think that looks really cool.
Yeah. Well, okay, Scott. I guess we will end our stream. I think we had a good one.
I think we did.
It may get us both killed, but who cares?
It was worth it.
Yeah.
Nah, whatever.
Okay. Bye, everybody, except for those people. I think you know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. See you
Bye-bye.
later.